ordering Oloroso sherry season cask, we will be given the cooperage. We have to give them maybe between 4 and 5 years notice of our requirement for the cask, because they then have to go to their wood supplier. They're going to the sawmills, buying the stave wood in, comes to the cooperage, and then it takes maybe 18 months to 2 years for it to actually season in the cooperage before it can be made into casks.
Hey guys, this is Sid Patel, CEO of London Spirits Competition and Beverage Trade Network. We are at day 3 of the London competitions judging today's Spirits Day. I'm here with Billy Leighton, master blender from the Irish distillers. You know, a lot of famous brands. One of them I know is Jameson for sure, and it's a portfolio of a lot of brands. We're going to talk about, you know, what's going on in blending, and more importantly, how he evaluates a world-class whiskey. What is a good whiskey to you, Billy, right? So thank you for coming here, and thanks for joining.
That was my pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Lovely. Let's start on sort of basic one-on-one, we'll go, okay?
Right.
So when you are evaluating or when you're trying to make a particular type of spirit, you know, what is the process of sourcing a cask, or what is involved there?
It's a very long procedure, and you know, it's a part of the whiskey business that a lot of people don't appreciate. They kind of take the maturation for granted because it's just what they see in a glass that they're appreciating. But there is an awful lot of work goes into procuring the right casks for the final product that you want to produce at the end. So I think people in the whiskey business would be very much aware that you have to be careful on your selection of casks. First of all, you know, you maybe have to look at the end product to see what style of a product you want. So for a whiskey, it may be that you're procuring casks to go into blended whiskey like Jameson. So you have to think of the character of the final product and how are you going to get that character into the final product.
So maybe we can go a little deeper as Jameson as an example.
Yeah.
So what do you look for particularly that blend when you're sourcing a cask?
The components that go into the making up the blend that is Jameson, those components are matured in a mix of ex-bourbon casks. So that's casks that have been used in the bourbon business. You know, the regulations in the States mean that a cask can only be used once for a straight bourbon. So there tends to be a supply of once used casks. American oak. The wood is quite important as well, because also in Jameson we use European oak, so that would be Oloroso sherry season cask. The procurement of those two types of casks is done differently, because the source of the bourbon cask is actually coming from the bourbon industry. So these casks will all have had some sort of American whiskey. From a quality point of view, the way that works is we pay the cooperages in the States where we source our cask from. So we're sourcing the casks from cooperages. The cooperages then do the kind of the first quality cut on that. So they're looking at, we kind of refer to them as selects and repairs. So they're distillery run casks. That means that whenever a cooperage in the States gets an American barrel in, they can inspect it and see that, you know, this is still a sound cask and it can be filled straight away. So these would be select casks. Then you get casks that maybe need some attention after having been filled with bourbon or been emptied from the bourbon. So that's the first quality cut is there. So you can kind of pay a premium for the select casks rather than take the risk of you wasting time on testing and fixing it.
But
having said that, once the casks are delivered into the distillery at Middleton, they're inspected again by our own people. So there's
at a scale, I mean, Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the scale of things, like we will,
It's a lot, right? So you
yeah.
there will be an entire cooperage just dedicated. The whole type would be dedicated for Jameson. So is there a different way for a big brand? And
Well, there are several. We use basically 3 main cooperages in the States to supply our casks. We would be taking in, you know, say around about 150,000 ex-bourbon barrels on an annual basis. So it's a lot of casks. So the quality regime has to be, you know, it has to be very good for those. The other casks, the Oloroso sherry casks, the sherry business is a world apart from the bourbon business. Okay, so and the availability of sherry casks would not be the same as for American barrels. So what we do in Spain, that we again, we're working with cooperages in Spain. You know, one cooperage in particular that we've had a long relationship with, Antonio Paz Lobato. They make casks for us, so they're bespoke casks. We will order them to make casks for us. We then have them seasoned in Spain with Oloroso sherry for 2 years. And then the casks come back and are filled at Middleton. But again, that's the quality aspect is priority here, so that we deal directly with the cooperage. In fact, we sometimes deal directly with the sawmill that's actually bringing in the wood from the forest. So,
got it.
So there's a great kind of an audit trail there.
And a lot of like old suppliers, you know. Does this get changed often or reviewed again?
The thing with cask procurement is that it's relationships with the cooperage. You can't sort of chop and change your supplier, because it just doesn't work that way. Whenever we're ordering Oloroso sherry seasoned cask, we will be giving the cooperage. We have to give them maybe between 4 and 5 years notice of our requirement for the cask, because they then have to go to their wood supplier.
And that's contracts as well, so there are 5-year, 10-year contracts?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're going to their wood supplier, they're going to the sawmills, buying the stave wood in, comes to the cooperage, and then it takes maybe 18 months to 2 years for it to actually season in the cooperage before it can be made into casks. And then once the casks are made, they're filled with Oloroso wine and seasoned for another 2 years. You know, so there's a very long lead time. So you can't, I mean, if you changed your cask supplier, and it pretty much applies across the board. If you changed your cask supplier on a price, don't be expecting to go back to your original supplier whenever the price changes.
So that relation is damaged. Huh?
Yeah.
You were not loyal to that. On the quality, we'll talk one more on how you evaluate a good whiskey. So what do you look for when you are evaluating a good whiskey?
Because I've been very much involved in the blending, I will be looking for the contribution from various aspects of the production process. Probably number one would be the distillate itself. Back in Ireland, in Middleton Distillery, we would be sort of well known for producing our Irish single pot still whiskey. Single pot still whiskey is a little bit different from a single malt whiskey, like a Scotch single malt or an Irish single malt. Just to explain the pot still category, we use barley, but some of that barley is malted and some of it is not malted, and that's basically the definition of an Irish single pot still whiskey. So whenever I'm evaluating a whiskey, I'm looking for, okay, where is the contribution from the distillate? And again, at Middleton, we make single pot still whiskey, but we make various styles of pot still whiskey, and each of those has their own contribution in the final product, whether it be 5 years old or 10 years old or Redbreast 27, like, you know, the evaluation then comes from what is the contribution that we're getting from the distillate. There will be a spicy character coming from the pot still distillate. The combination of maturation. So what casks, bourbon casks, are going to contribute certain sweet spices like vanilla, clove, a little bit of maybe a fruity character, an orchard fruit type of character. And then we're looking at what the sherry cask is contributing, and its fruitiness. So
you're first basically trying to get that is everything, typicity is correct, meaning if it's exactly this, is it technically well, and everything is there, and then obviously comes the extra things.
Yeah, I think for me, being the blender with Irish distillers is we've got to make sure that the distillate style, the signature character of the pot still whiskey is never hidden.
Understood.
Now, whether that be, because the other main factor that we'll be considering as well when we're doing the evaluation is the age of the whiskey, right? So with age, it brings additional complexity as well. So, and if that's what you're looking for, then you just have to watch out for the cask contribution, the distillate contribution, and then what the age is doing. And with many years' experience in the business, you get to know what to expect with what extra years bring to whatever the combination of casks and distillate type, what that's going to bring.
It's the first year for you judging at the London Spirits competition, right? What do you personally think about the criteria on evaluating by quality, value, and package?
I think that's the complete view of a product. I would be, sort of being a blender, I would be more concerned about the quality as opposed to any of the commercial side of it. And it's great to be involved now with the London Spirits competition in that you get to see everything and you get to give your opinion on the complete package.